What if I told you that hidden deep within the rugged hills of southeastern Spain lies the forgotten ruins of a Bronze Age kingdom so advanced that it forged weapons of power, ruled through silver crowns, and built one of the earliest state societies in Europe, only to vanish without a trace? This is the lost civilization of El Argar, a mysterious culture that rose over 4,000 years ago, flourished for centuries, and then disappeared almost overnight. Their story, carved in stone and buried beneath centuries of silence, challenges everything we thought we knew about Europe's prehistoric past. Welcome back to Whispers of Lost World, where ancient empires come back to life through stories the Earth has long tried to hide. I'm your name, and today I invite you to journey with me into the Bronze Age 2, a world where power was measured in metal. Cities were carved into the mountains, and society itself was built on order, discipline, and ambition. By the end of this exploration, you'll understand how El Argar rose from small farming villages into a centralized state-level civilization, the first of its kind in Western Europe. You'll see how they built terraced strongholds, mastered bronze technology, and created a society so complex that modern archaeologists now call it Europe's first state. And perhaps most intriguingly, we'll uncover how such a powerful people could simply vanish, leaving behind their weapons, jewelry, and bones, but no written record, no legends, no descendants to tell their tale. Our story begins around 2200 BC, in the dry, sun-baked lands of what is now Almeria and Murcia, Spain. The Neolithic villages of earlier centuries were slowly transforming, their people experimenting with metallurgy and fortified architecture. From this transformation emerged something extraordinary, a people whose mastery of bronze changed everything. Atop a rocky plateau near the modern town of Antis, they built the settlement that would give its name to an entire civilization, El Argar. Imagine standing there as the morning light spills over the hills. Below you stretch hundreds of stone-based houses, their wooden upper walls plastered with clay, arranged neatly in terraces that step down the mountainside. Smoke rises from metal furnaces. The clang of bronze echoes through the valley. These are not scattered farmers anymore. This is an organized, industrious community, the beginnings of a Bronze-Aged kingdom. The architecture of El Argar was as functional as it was symbolic. Their homes, similar in size and layout, reflected deliberate order imposed from above. Beneath those floors, archaeologists found tombs, hundreds of them cut into the bedrock or built from slabs of stone. Inside lay men, women, and children, often buried with the tools, ornaments, or weapons that defined their social standing. Some were buried with bronze swords, fine ceramics, or silver diadems. Others had nothing but a simple pot. These discoveries reveal a world divided by class, where power and wealth were concentrated among the few, while the majority labored in service of a growing elite. Among the most famous burials is that of a woman found at La Almoloya, lying beneath what appears to have been a great hall. She wore a silver crown and jewelry of extraordinary craftsmanship, suggesting that she was not only wealthy, but powerful a ruler, or perhaps a high priestess. This discovery stunned historians because it hinted that women in El Argar might have held real political authority. In this forgotten Bronze Age society, leadership was not only hereditary, but possibly shared between genders, making El Argar one of the earliest known cultures to place women in positions of high rank. As El Argar grew, so too did its reach. By around 1800 BC, its influence stretched across much of southeastern Spain. Archaeologists have identified dozens of fortified settlements, all following the same pattern of terraced architecture and standardized pottery. That consistency tells us something remarkable. Argar had centralized control. Perhaps a ruling council or king who directed production and distribution. Their ceramic styles were identical across vast distances, suggesting regulation, maybe even taxation, by a governing power. In many ways, El Argar functioned as the first state in Western Europe, a proto-kingdom that managed agriculture, mining, and warfare under one organized system. Their economy was driven by metal. They mined copper and tin, forging these into bronze, the miracle material of their age. With bronze, they created tools, ornaments, and, most importantly, weapons. Halberds, swords, and daggers appeared in large numbers, signaling both military strength and social prestige. Farmers grew barley, wheat, and lentils in the arid soil, while herders raised goats and sheep on the rocky slopes. Trade routes extended from the interior of Iberia to the Mediterranean coast, where El Argar exchanged metalwork for exotic goods from faraway lands. It was a world both self-reliant and interconnected, sophisticated yet brutal in its hierarchy. But beneath the surface of power, cracks began to form. As generations passed, inequality deepened. The elites controlled the flow of metal, food, and land, while the lower classes worked tirelessly with little reward. Archaeological evidence reveals cramped living spaces for commoners, contrasted by spacious, well-built houses for the elite. The bones of the rich show better nutrition, the poor, signs of labor and malnourishment. This was a society built on precision and pressure. Around 1550 BC, that pressure finally broke. Within a few decades, the shining bronze world of El Argar began to crumble. Entire settlements were suddenly abandoned. Workshops fell silent, and the once thriving trade routes vanished. Archaeologists find burned layers in the ruins, evidence of fire, possibly rebellion. Some believe the lower classes, exhausted by exploitation, rose against their rulers. Others blame environmental catastrophe, deforestation, drought, and soil exhaustion that made their mountain cities unsustainable. Another theory suggests that shifting trade networks cut off their access to metals, collapsing their economy from within. Whatever the cause, the result was the same. The Great Hall at La Almoloya, once filled with rulers wearing silver diadems, lay in ashes. The weapons that had symbolized power were buried and forgotten. People dispersed, leaving behind a ghost civilization. In less than a century, El Argar vanished, its memory erased from human history, until modern archaeology unearthed its remains 3,000 years later. Today, El Argar stands as one of the most extraordinary discoveries in European archaeology. It represents a lost chapter in the evolution of civilization, a society that developed government, social classes, metallurgy, and urban organizations centuries before Greece or Rome. Its people were the silent architects of Europe's Bronze Age, pioneers of technology and power in a time we once thought primitive. The silver diadems, dark polished pottery, and fortress-like settlements they left behind remind us that even in prehistory, human ambition knew no limits. Modern researchers using DNA analysis and digital mapping continue to uncover new secrets. Genetic studies show that El Argar was largely patrilineal, yet its female elites held ceremonial or political importance. Advanced imaging of their settlements reveals precise layouts, suggesting that their cities were planned down to the last wall. Through these discoveries, a picture emerges of a people who were not savages or tribes, but architects of a complex, ordered world. The story of El Argar is more than just archaeology, it's a warning from history. Their rise teaches us the power of innovation, unity, and control. Their fall reminds us of the dangers of inequality, overexploitation, and social rigidity. A civilization can master metal, build cities, and conquer its environment. But if it loses balance, if it forgets compassion, it will eventually consume itself. And so, as we look at the broken walls of El Argar and the silver crowns buried in the earth, we are reminded that greatness is fragile. Civilizations rise not just on strength, but on the harmony between their people and their world. When that harmony breaks, even empires made of bronze can crumble into dust. If this journey into the lost kingdom of El Argar has fascinated you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Whispers of Lost World, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss our next exploration into ancient mysteries. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think caused the fall of El Argar? Is it rebellion, famine, or something far more mysterious? Leave your theories in the comments below, and let's discuss. Because in the end, the whispers of lost worlds still echo beneath our feet, waiting for someone like you to listen.